Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Betts.
Yo, my name is Kane Reynolds.
My name's Kenneth Ribeiro.
And welcome to... We don't have a name for this podcast
Actually,
yet.
we do. It's called the Let's Watch Anime podcast. We'll be Let's Watching lots of anime with you guys.
I thought it was going to be called Supernova Thunder's Weeaboo Corral.
Oh.
Oh.
Right.
That's the undercard. That's the undercard.
That could be the title of this episode.
Supernova Thunder's Weeaboo Corral.
Yeah, for sure. Let's Watch Anime is like... not the most original idea. I've seen other people do it, but
Come on down to the anime rodeo and rope in some storytelling. I'm sorry, I'm on a roll.
You are on a roll. You better keep that up. But we like anime here at Supernova Thunder, and there are anime that even Jacob and I and Kenneth have not seen, and so we're gonna try to basically do homework to catch ourselves up on all the pop culture around and catch ourselves up on some anime series that you guys can watch with us.
There's a ton that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
It's sort of like how when we play video games and I'm like, I don't know jack shit about what we're doing. It's gonna be that way, but for anime.
And I feel like me and Kenneth watch kind of like the opposite spectrum of the shonen. We kind of like mesh and meld in with what we've seen fully.
Awesome. So we're going to eventually, I believe, get down to a bit more structured type of show where we're actually watching a series.
Yeah.
And we'll do it like 4 episodes at a time, and we'll talk about what we saw and how we felt about it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk to you all about the things that you guys want to hear, the themes. We're going to do the homework for you, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the characters. We'll talk about the plot.
Can't wait for you guys to see the tonal change in Hunter x Hunter.
Wait, does it shift into something totally different? I've seen the first couple episodes of Hunter x Hunter. Does it
Yeah,
shift?
the fun, adventurous action shonen. Yeah, that changes at like 60, 70.
Episode 60, 70. Can't wait to
Something
get
like
there.
that.
So
60 episodes is an entire series.
And that's not
There's
how it works
100
for anime.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, there's 120 some odd episodes.
Yeah, there's some
And
long
when you get up into like 90 and stuff, boy.
Yeah, we're reaching there with My Hero
Shit.
too. We're getting there. We're getting closer.
Just when you hear Chimera Ant, yeah,
Chimera
I
Ant?
don't know what that means.
Is that
You
in
know what
Hunter x Hunter?
yeah, you know what a chimera is?
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I watched Fullmetal Alchemist.
Imagine an ant chimera.
I don't want to.
It's
I
3
hate
different ants shoved together to form one
No.
ant?
It's ant plus
Something else.
name an animal.
Lion.
They got it.
Bear.
I
Goat.
think there's a side one. There's no goat.
Scrope. Sorry, I already forgot the name. We're just recording that other podcast.
And Scrub won too.
Yeah, go Scrope.
If you haven't listened to
go
that
Scrope.
episode, if you haven't listened to the other episode of How's That Pokemon yet,
Let's go
Scrope
Scrope.
wins.
Let's go Scrope.
There's an octopus. There's a butterfly.
Oh shit, an octopus
There's
ant?
a
That's
lion.
terrifying.
Now all of these don't look specifically like ant plus whatever,
Yeah.
but the chimera ant, it's this ant and it eats whatever the ant eats. The egg comes out like that animal.
Oh.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you get a lot of weird combinations.
Yeah.
There's a penguin.
Well,
There's
just
a
like the
penguin.
Chimera Ant, we're gonna eat some anime and spit it out fully
Good
formed
segue.
for you to consume, and then spit out for the people you talk to about anime. I'd like to start the podcast by talking a little bit about like our own personal histories with anime in general. Like, what was your first anime, guys? Like, when was the first time? Let's talk about like what got you into watching anime in general. I'll start by saying one of the very first movies I can remember ever watching was My Neighbor Totoro, and I was
Great.
very
Get your own
little.
origin story, Kane.
You're right. Well, it's the same. Look, it's the same. It's pretty much the very first movie I can. But the difference, I don't remember. Like, I just always knew that movie. That movie is like my home to me.
The joke here is that this is the first movie I saw too.
It's the same as Jacob because
Yeah.
we're the same person. We're twins actually. We're from the same household.
No, it's just one person running from mic to mic.
We're just going really fast.
Yeah.
Like
I'll let you talk a little bit more about the impact of that movie, Jacob. But I just wanted to say, so I've been up to date with pretty much all of the Ghibli films since. So like, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke, all those films were kind of like a big part of me growing up. But I didn't actually get into like watching anime till I saw my very first anime, guys, which is, let me know if you guys have watched this, Tengen Toppan Gurren Lagann.
That's the one with the drills, right?
Hell yeah, your drill is the drill that's going to pierce through the heavens.
That's your first anime?
It's my very first anime I watched, yeah.
When did that come out?
I watched it all the way through. I don't remember. I mean, I had seen episodes of like Naruto and the stuff that was like dubbed by 4Kids before. If you want to consider Pokemon the anime, for sure. If you want to consider Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't necessarily consider those because of the way that they were dubbed. And for me, that was just like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
You could make an argument for them, but for me, that's just not what. It wasn't something that like I was. It wasn't like The Awakening for me.
So more of Gurren Lagann was the first series that
I watched a couple episodes and then wanted to watch the whole way through. And it's really good. Yeah.
Like a noob.
Hey, come on. And then from that, it brought me to Bleach. And then once I made it through Bleach,
How much film did you watch?
I watched all of Bleach. Up until where it was at in 2010.
Bleach is another one of those really big franchises, right?
Yeah, he's
three.
the guy with the big sword.
The big three. Are there three very specific
Naruto,
Naruto,
Bleach,
One Piece, Bleach.
and One Piece, yeah.
The big three.
Those are
At least as far as like shonen goes, but
Yeah.
they're the big three. Like as far as
They're the jump stars.
mainly
Plus
being
Dragon Ball.
popular outside of like specific anime culture, those are the big three.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, like Kane already said, my story is sort of similar because I can tell you that I know that My Neighbor Totoro was the very first movie I ever saw, period. My parents had just bought the Fox dub because they had it in Japanese, and they showed it to my older siblings in Japanese. And my older siblings do not and never have spoken any Japanese. They just watched this movie and tried to suss out what was going on. Which actually, as far as that goes, like that's a solid movie to not know what they're saying because it's told very well visually.
Yeah, it's pretty cohesive.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a bunch of kids running around and they meet some cute ass bunny rabbits.
Yeah, but the first English dub of that came out around the time I was born, 92, I believe. Well, I mean, I know that's the year I was born, but
I was born.
I think it was 92. But I think that
93-ish.
Totoro was around the same time. So they bought it pretty much around when I was born, and it was the first thing that they showed me.
Right.
Yeah. And my experience with anime was pretty much exclusively Ghibli films up until, like, college. Like, my entire life, like, I had actually talked about anime with my mom before, because she was born and grew up in Japan. And her opinion on it actually was, I don't know, Jacob, some of that anime stuff is really weird.
Damn anime.
Yeah, that was her thought on it. And so it wasn't really like anything we had around in the household.
Right.
For someone whose mom was born and spent a lot of her childhood in Japan, we didn't really have an influx of Japanese popular culture in our household.
Yeah.
I think the first anime I actually watched all the way through with a specific thought of seeing it as a series was probably Madoka Magica, which came out when I was in college.
Could you talk a little bit about that? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's a really good series.
I believe it.
I think it's like 13 episodes long, which I like because I like anything that I can just knock
Do
out.
in a night.
Yeah, well, maybe not a night. That's a bit much for that.
You're not living like Kane's living.
But I can knock that out in a month or so.
You got some work to do.
Madoka Magica is sort of this subversion of a magical girl type anime where it's about these little I think elementary or middle school girls who end up being allowed to like have a wish granted, but once they get their wish granted, they have to go on and like fight for this like cosmic force.
Standard anime.
Yeah. And so once they start fighting for the standard force, they sort of have to deal with all of these life-threatening issues. And if they go on too long, they end up becoming the very force that they're fighting. It's really cool, and it comes with a lot of really cool visuals when they go into actually fighting the witches, which are the big bads.
Right.
Or the witches, which aren't humanoid at all. The witches that they fight are pretty much this weird Terry Gilliam style surreal atmosphere. Like they're fighting an atmosphere more than they're fighting an actual
I feel it.
like physical thing. So I really appreciate that. And it's really weird because, again, this was like my introduction to anime, and it is by its very nature a subversion of a type of anime that I only kind of recognized because my sister watched Sailor Moon.
Right.
Yeah.
Cardcaptor Sakura.
Which I also saw Cardcaptor Sakura when I was kind of growing up, because I think that was on Toonami or so for a little while. Wasn't it on like Cartoon Network for a bit?
I think it was a Saturday morning one.
Was it? I remember seeing it. Again, I didn't really watch it beginning to end.
It might have been a Toonami after school.
Yeah, this one, that
Like
one's
to match with
that's a little too far from me.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, because that's what
I'm. Cardcaptor Sakura.
No, that one's a little too far.
Cardcaptor's a mystic adventure.
It was like
I remember Monster Rancher.
I never watched that.
I never watched it, but I remember.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I never like watched episodes, but I remember.
That was like the same monster
Yeah.
capture.
But like I've seen an episode or two of Cardcaptor Sakura, or just Cardcaptors as I knew it. I understand Cardcaptor Sakura is what it was actually called.
Yeah, and there's actually a series that happens like right now or recently.
Well, did they reboot it?
Like a redo, yeah.
My cousin watches it. She's still watching it right now. I think they like age them up a bit, like it's a sequel series.
They did that with Digimon, and it went really well. Digimon Try, it's really
it's really
popular.
Yeah.
That's true, and I watched Digimon too. I guess what I mean when I say I didn't really watch anime until very recently.
Those ones
But
are
also
kind of like
Digimon, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh would be like the OG.
right.
Because like I saw,
I've been watching
Or I should say
Pokemon since I was fucking.
those are
9.
like the American big three.
yeah, because
That,
like I would watch the
gotcha.
things that. Look, I didn't even consider anime its own thing until fairly recently, because growing up, anime was always like, oh, it's just another cartoon.
Cartoon, yeah.
Because that's what Pokemon was. It's another cartoon.
Yeah,
and
that's-
Dragon Ball is another cartoon.
Well, especially Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. They're not like
They were meant for
You don't-
international audiences.
you don't see like they don't live in Japan and they don't live in a very like Japanese cultured show.
Well,
like when you watch
dubbed,
Digimon,
they don't obviously.
yeah, when you watch Digimon, but I just mean like even the area they live. It's not
Okay.
specifically Japan. Like Digimon, they're in Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they have houses where people, there are no chairs and they sit on little tables and but the other shows were like it could be wherever it could be in New York, it could be in
Yeah.
Australia, it could be in
Pokemon
London.
is just generalized countryside half the time.
It's just a bunch of trees.
Pokemon
Yeah.
is like their forest conservation
open
program
field.
is great.
Pokemon's knocked a lot of things out of the park, that universe. They've got free healthcare for
Mhm.
everyone. Basically, you can wander
Everyone
everywhere.
and their Pokemon.
And- yeah.
They train kids to become super soldiers with their monsters.
Yeah, there's also.
It doesn't seem to be an issue because they don't seem to really have any war.
No,
Yeah.
till Sun and Moon,
Oh, there's a war in Sun and Moon?
kind of. It's
I
not
didn't-
really a war. You still
Yeah.
kind of take care of it pretty fast.
And they're supposed.
Oh, there's just a light war.
Well,
on
there's-
Thursday, we had a brief war.
well,
There's a big
supposedly there was a
over.
war before the series started. That's the reason why there's like.
Oh, they've
They've cut that.
yeah. Let's
But
go
that was-
Pikachu.
but
They
that
cut
was a-
that out.
that was a theory.
Lieutenant Surge no longer says back in the war.
Really?
Yeah.
But that was a
I always
theory.
kind of liked that Lieutenant Surge had actually served in a war.
So
There
do
was-
I.
like-
He was supposed to be American, but now because none of them is, because Pokemon Red and Blue was supposed to take place in Japan, right?
Yeah.
And the anime is, I guess, Japan,
Yeah.
but they've redone it because now there's like Kalos and Alola and all these different things
Yeah.
that are based off of Hawaii, based off of France. Unova's based off of New York,
Yeah.
but they're all their own regions, so they're not 100%. There's no like America anymore, so they had to redo that line.
Couldn't he just be Unovan?
They could have changed it that way, but they didn't say it.
I would have appreciated it if they actually did make him Unovan.
I agree.
Okay.
I would have liked that too.
But yeah, the theory was that's why all the men are either
That's why.
Yeah,
Young
kids
kids,
told me about this before.
teenagers or like old guys. There's no war age men.
Honestly,
Which is
for
like,
the
damn, what
original
kind of
idea
war
of
was
that
that?
game, that makes sense. It makes sense.
But regardless, even that's a war that like was in the past.
Yeah.
And like right now, it seems to be pretty solid.
Well, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, there's the like impending doom of the Ultra Beasts, which I don't know if they're gonna go into that
Not
in the
Pokemon.
anime. I don't know if they're gonna go into that into the anime. I would like to see that happen. I'm not super far into the Pokemon anime, but
Okay, in doing my cursory research that it takes me to do for the How's That Pokemon podcast
Yeah.
we do, some of the ones I found were labeled as Ultra Beasts.
Okay, so they
and I
have
thought
gone that
about
far.
putting them. Yeah, I thought about putting some on the roster. Then when I looked into it, I was like, they all have really cool designs, and they clearly are their own thing. So I wiped all the Ultra Beasts out of the roster.
Yeah.
What? But I don't know what the hell they are.
They're from like another dimension, and they're like super power. They're like basically more powerful than legendaries, and they just like destroy town sides. And,
Oh. Wait, is that the war you're talking about?
Yes.
I wouldn't call that a war, though. That's like that's like a war the way that Independence Day against the aliens is a war.
Yeah,
like it's more of a
exactly.
natural disaster. than a
Well,
war.
I agree with that. Then yeah, so not a war, a natural. They're training firefighters.
I'd be okay
That's
with
the
that.
Coast Guard.
If I had to spend some time learning how to be a firefighter.
Yeah, Kenneth, do you want to?
Let's
Yeah,
see.
Kenneth, what was your first anime?
Yeah.
My first anime was probably, I can't remember specifically which one, but it was probably a Gundam.
One of the Gundams.
One of the Gundam series, maybe Gundam Wing, but my
that's
brother.
that's the only that I've watched.
And yes, I don't want to hear it. Gundam Wing is hot garbage, and it's hot garbage that I like. So I don't want to hear it.
Look, I like it.
I have zero opinions on it. What I know a little bit about
But
Gundam as a franchise, but what is Gundam Wing?
Gundam Wing is very over dramatized, very
But you-
super emotional, and
But like, what's
But
the
it's
plot?
consistently like that. I wouldn't say it's bad because it's consistently like that.
so the plot is you have the Xeon and you have the Earth Sphere Alliance, and Xeon is is it Xeon? Xeon is that what is trying to Xeon's not too important.
Xeon's not too
It's not
important.
too important. Yeah, they're fucking stupid. Anyways, but there's these 5 scientists, like you know Gundam having colonies out in space, and you know about that.
I know that Gundam has a giant robot.
Okay.
It has
Well, I
lots
can
of
name
giant
that.
robots.
Gundam started the concept. Did it
Not
start the
start,
concept
but
of
like-
colonies?
Of-
Not of
Right,
space.
definitely
but
perfected
colonies.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Gundam, almost every Gundam series, there are these big rotating cylinders in space that people live in. And so, like, when you look up, you see the other side of the town. And it just rotates to keep gravity, and that's where people live because it's the future where we fucked up the Earth, and people have to leave the Earth. And
Giant robot mech suits.
so what these 5 scientists do, they create the Gundams, which are made from Gundanium alloy.
Were the
That's what
robots named after the alloy, or was the alloy named after the robots?
The robots were named after the alloy.
Okay.
They're Gundams because Gundam is specifically like
A robot made from that alloy.
you could make a robot what you would actually call a mobile suit
Mm-hmm.
that looked exactly like a Gundam, but if it's not made from Gundanium alloy, then it's not a Gundam. That's what most of the rest of the army forces are and stuff. They're just mobile suits. Now,
Wait,
there's
the entire army is a bunch of giant mechs?
pretty much.
Damn.
Like there's still some advanced tanks and stuff, but you're gonna win or lose wars off of mobile suits. And when you watch the battles, there's gonna be 40 on 40 in space, on the ground, whatever, mobile suits. Some mobile suits transform into jets.
Like, some of them are Transformers? I like that.
Yeah, those just, and they're not when they transform, you could still look at it and obviously see that it's a robot, like
Right.
it's a
Yeah.
mech suit. They just do simple transformations, but each scientist gets, of course, a young teenage kid who's specially
Because
trained
anime.
because it's anime.
Because they all need a protege?
Yes, and they make their own Gundam that when you meet the scientist
Wait,
later,
aren't Gundams supposed to be like 60 feet tall?
Yeah,
You make your own Gundam? So you build your own building, essentially.
yeah,
I just make my own apartment complex real quick.
yeah.
Okay.
Look, if you had a scientist friend,
But these are legit scientists, super geniuses.
like legit scientists who seem to
yeah.
have unlimited funding.
They have
Yeah.
they have teams. It's not like just them putting it together on their spare time. Like they have teams that work on it, put it up together.
they've got their money coming in from sources.
All they had to do
And
was
they're just
cut
not
all
telling
of...
them where the grants are coming from.
Yeah, all they have to do
grants.
is not pay any of their employees.
Yeah.
But
Well, they don't. The employees live on the premises.
also
So it's prison. That's literally how prison works. We live here, we house you, we feed you. All you have to do is do work for us for no money.
Yeah, I'm just making shit up. Tell more about Gundam.
but so when you meet the scientists later in the show, you realize each Gundam fits the personality of the scientist in a
Because they
way.
built it.
Because they built it.
Yeah.
So you have the main one, which is the Wing Zero, which like most
That's Gundam.
Does that particular mobile suit show up in all of the series, or does it just show
No.
up in that one and it's become a
Almost-
flagship?
it is
Icon.
the flagship. It is Pikachu.
Okay.
Now it doesn't show up in every series like Pikachu does, but as far as the mascot, it is Pikachu. Like there's a giant one somewhere in Japan. That's
God,
like almost...
I can't wait for Detective Gundam.
Yeah, with his laser sword that's literally like 5 stories long.
Oh,
Where were you on the 20th?
It's the RX something.
what's
I really
that?
should just search original Gundam.
Yeah.
But that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Is that guy with the red,
original
with the
shield
red,
and
Yeah.
the cannon and
yeah, and the like V horns.
Well, most of them have V horns. Just they get golden and ornate
Pretty
and all of that.
and then they look nice because they're based off of personality instead of just being a war machine.
yeah,
I noticed that he's carrying a gun.
yeah.
Why is he carrying a gun?
They
He's
don't-
a giant
and
robot.
If so, how big
They don't-
is that gun?
First things first is there are no buttons or triggers on the weapons of Gundam. They
Okay.
literally connect.
Oh, so you're just piloting a giant person.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, some Gundam do like actually pull the trigger and stuff. I shouldn't say, but some of them they've actually shown where there's
The
like
gun's just like part of it.
there's basically like a fucking USB sticking out of the hand, and there's a USB port on the weapon. So then once it grabs it and locks in, then once you put whatever input, it just turns on and
That's
shoots.
dope as
All right,
hell.
so-
Let's
but
hope
some of
that
them-
never happens in real life.
But some
Yeah,
of them,
we just build the guns right in because we're boring. We don't like things that look cool.
No, now some Gundam like in Gundam Wing, there is heavy arms,
Yeah.
which just has its left arm is just a Gatling gun. It's just a giant Gatling gun, and when it runs out of ammo, it just comes off, and then there's no hand. There's just a sword,
Oh.
and so it just grabs it's a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So it just grabs the lightsaber out, and then that's what it uses. And then they've also had it where it has like a flip out fucking like katana, that's actual just metal. It's not even. It's not a laser.
shaped to look like
it's
a katana
literally
to be
just a
cool.
sword.
Yeah, see, I
Yeah.
think that's so cool from an aesthetic perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously,
It's
in reality, we
creative for
wouldn't
the
do that.
show,
but yeah.
right? Yeah.
So that's the Wing Zero,
That looks really cool.
and then in the movie at the end it gets literal wings.
Wait,
where
so those are feathers?
it's one of those anime things where the background comes up
Oh, and it makes it look like
and the
feathers.
So it has literal wings, but whenever it goes up and it spreads its wings, it gives the effect of like actual feathers.
So they're metal, but they're designed to look like they're feathers.
Yeah,
All right.
but the quick synopsis of the 5 Gundam, Wing Zero it's the best one because it has, like a lot of Gundams end up doing later, it has a system that just takes input directly from the pilot's brain.
Is what you're
as
describing
opposed to
now
control.
unique to Gundam Wing,
Yeah.
or is
I
that
think
a Gundam thing?
Gundam Wing was one of the first ones to do that, and that was a big
It's a staple
point
that
in
kept over.
in the series.
Mhm.
Was because then the other Gundam that's made to fight the Wing Zero uses the same system, and the system, obviously because it's connecting to your brain, that fucks with your head.
Mhm.
So everybody who ends up piloting one of these that has
Yeah.
it's called the Zero system. That's why it's called the Wing Zero.
Mhm.
They end up kind of fucked. You see throughout the series, their mental stability deteriorates.
Now, there's like 1,000 Mobile Suit Gundam series.
Yeah.
How many series between OG Gundam and Gundam Wing are there? Like, what series
I
is
don't
this?
even know. There's a lot.
There's
right?
actually not that many between the original and Gundam Wing. The problem is not all of them occur on the same timeline.
Oh right, yeah.
Oh.
yeah. They're all like
Yeah.
different contained stories.
Okay.
So
So
now
they don't
they're-
all take place in the same universe?
No,
They're not in
Now
the same
the-
universe.
not all of them. No.
Okay.
Huh.
Now there are multiple shows that are years apart
Yeah.
in the real world, but are in the same. Like right now, I'm watching. There's one on Netflix that's called Gundam UC. That one is basically a sequel
To the OG.
to the original one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have.
That sounds like something modern day anime would do.
It's pretty good though. It's not each episode's like an hour. There's like 6 episodes. I'm on episode like 3.
Oh, cool.
But
Cool.
it's pretty good. I recently rewatched all of it, and
It's
not
over
very good.
dramatic. It's over dramatic.
It's not very good.
How long is it as a franchise? 50 episodes? 60?
40, 50.
Wow. That's so many episodes.
See,
How
but
do you
that's the thing. I
do
think
that?
for most anime that you end up watching, all those episodes, it's only the good ones. It's only the
Yeah.
ones that you're invested, because basically the way you become an anime is you sell enough as a manga.
Yeah.
And you become popular enough that they say, "Oh, it's worth the investment of making the show."
Oh, okay, because it's so much more
Yeah.
money
Otherwise,
to make an
you're
anime.
just going to be a 12 episode
And it's going to be one of those things, 12 episodes, and the story may not end, but it just disappears.
That's
because
just, it gets lost in the, because they do make there's a shit ton of anime that comes out like every fucking season, every year.
Yeah.
That's like 14 or 15 different shows that are all
But
like,
you might only get a season or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's interesting because those are the ones I tend to gear toward, are the 12-episode long ones that are telling a 12-episode long complete story.
But that's different. That
Yeah.
was designed to tell a 12-episode story.
Yeah.
That was an anime created to tell its single purpose. Right?
Now, I don't know about maybe Kane too, but for a lot of people, those serve as like snacks. As opposed to like
Snacks
Naruto. Naruto is your main meal that you go and you eat every week, but I need a little something in between.
Some of them for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, there's some, like, you've got a couple seasons of Cowboy Bebop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that show
Cowboy Bebop is
fantastic, but
30.
it's only like it's very short.
But there's differences because Cowboy Bebop is very episodic, and you can watch, for the most part,
Any
you can
episode
watch
at
any
any
episode
time.
in any order. And there may be subtle differences in like who's on the crew because you missed an episode because you're watching it backwards. But besides that, every episode can be by itself.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Well,
Now, like Naruto is something that you
It's
grow with the
chronological.
characters and it builds up and you get invested in these people and there's side characters and there's all that. Like
you
in
gotta hear the
Bebop.
arc about like this and a whole other character that you just learned about who shows up and then
In Bebop, you pretty
It's a
much
big-
only know the people on the Bebop,
Yeah.
and everybody else just shows up for an episode or two.
yeah.
Like what's it called? Naruto has how many main characters? Like you consider
lot.
you consider so would you
A lot.
consider all the Konoha kids the main characters?
The main characters, I would.
So that's 12 right
it's
there.
12 kids. I would consider maybe 6 of them the main
Yeah.
characters.
And then you have side characters that end up being way more important than characters you met originally, and
Right.
things cross over, and
Yeah,
you go
you-
to different lands, and you meet characters that stick around. But
They come back later after doozies and.
yeah, those anime that are 12, 20, 30, they're made to be that. They were written as manga to be only that long.
Yeah, because like I told you, I really like Madoka Magica, which also was just an anime. There's no manga. I think there's been a manga adaptation of the anime.
That happens too.
Yeah, but there's never been. It didn't start as a manga like a lot of them.
I think from a media perspective, that is smart if you want to like get into creating anime, but and like developing like a portfolio. But from a like storytelling perspective, a lot of the anime that happens that like a lot of major like artists work on are based off of the manga's work. Like the original creator or whatever. I wonder what I don't know. It's just curious to see like what, like how many artists are on like a studio's team and like what their feelings are about like, because you are really working on somebody else's franchise the whole time. How does, I don't know.
Yeah, like
But they do it so well.
There's something interesting that happened with another anime that I put on my list.
Okay.
That's very, very small. I don't think it's even all that popular. It was called Haganai, I Don't Have Many Friends. It's one I came into by accident.
Okay.
I think it's absolutely adorable. It's about this guy that gets caught up in like an after-school club where their whole goal is to just make friends. And every episode is just them talking about how they're going to be friends and how they're going to make more friends. And I love every goddamn second of it.
That sounds like a lot.
It's so
Kane,
it's so simple.
How many anime or guy gets wrapped up into After School Club?
So much so that
There's so many.
There's
It's
so many.
essentially the first couple episodes of Doki Doki Literature Club, yes.
yeah, right.
There's
There's a reason why that was what it is.
Yeah.
right.
There's a football one of that.
Nice.
Where a kid is so fast that he gets wrapped up into the team because their quarterback is like the embodiment of the devil. Not like
this doesn't go quite that far.
well, no, not in any like he's actually is the devil or anything, but like he is drawn in a very demonic way,
yeah.
and when he wants people to do something, he just pulls out giant automatic rifles from who knows where.
Oh, because you can take those onto school
Jacob-
campuses.
Yeah,
Jacob, do
this is
you
a high school. Yeah,
Do you know what that desk is? The desk in the left side, in the back of the corner of the room, looking out the window.
Is it Natsuki's rum closet?
Right. But you know that desk, right? From anime? That's like a stereotypical, that's where the protagonist sits.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about in the classroom.
Yeah, in the classroom,
Yeah.
left side of the classroom.
Left side against
All the way
Really?
back.
They
against
always
the
sit on the
window.
left side on the back near the window?
Yep.
Yeah.
And usually the girl that they like sits a desk in front of them.
Yes.
Is that where like every comic book artist sat when they were growing up and they're like,
I don't know
just
why
got-
that's a staple.
I guess so,
just,
but yeah.
I guess it's just like a relatable.
Anytime you watch the anime where the class,
They're like,
where everybody in the class is not going to be the focus,
Yeah.
like you're just going to have a bunch of background characters that you may never even see speak, the main character is going to sit on the left side of the class,
right by the
up
window.
against the window.
Weird.
Yeah, and they're never in classrooms where, like, every classroom is always when the teacher is facing the students,
Yeah.
the window is to the right. Like, they're
It
never...
is that way.
They're
Yeah.
never in,
Yeah.
like, the class next door where the teacher is... The window's to the left of the teacher.
The reason I brought up Hawkeye
Right.
is because they have this whole first series that is this very gentle story where every episode they try to talk about how they're going to make friends.
Right.
And it was apparently based on like a light novel, I think.
And then they say, oh, this is anime.
Well, in season 2, suddenly all of the stereotypes that I thought season 1 was breaking down, a lot of season 2 is just like, hey, let's stop breaking down these stereotypes and just like go straight on into them. And it's this, I wouldn't say it's not like ugly or gross. It doesn't get too bad, but it does get like, oh, I thought you had something to say, and I guess you don't have anything to say.
I mean, that could have been
Studio decisions.
studio decisions,
franchise
Maybe.
decisions.
or writers or whatever.
They wrote their first series and they were like, we don't know what to do for season 2. I want to transition really quickly. You already mentioned one of the things on your list, Jacob. So let's just go into it. You want to talk about? Let's talk about our favorite anime. Our favorite anime. You want to go top 3, and just kind of talk a little bit about them, what they mean to you. If there's any like characters or episodes specifically that stood out to you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
My number 1, I think, still has to go straight to Madoka because that was that was a show that I watched and went like, oh, this is a really good show with a lot to say. It clearly has a lot of thought and a lot of care went into this.
Right.
It's something that when I watched, I thought, oh, I guess anime is like this. And then I started watching other anime and I was like, oh, anime is not like this.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to make a top 3 because straight up, guys, I don't watch a lot of anime. So I ended up putting Madoka as 1. And number 2 is just kind of where I started flittering around with like, well, I guess Pokemon, because that probably had the biggest impact on me.
Okay.
Just from a cultural perspective, I guess.
How much of the Pokemon anime did you watch?
See, I watched up through... I don't think I finished when they were going through Gen 2, but I remember watching them do some stuff in Gen 2.
Okay, so
Like,
you,
I remember
you watched
doing-
the entirety of the Indigo and the Orange Islands.
Yeah, so the entirety of the Indigo Plateau and the entirety of Orange Islands, and I remember them starting Johto.
Do you wanna
be a messer? Pokemon.
And obviously I've seen
One.
and obviously I've seen the third Pokemon movie, which is my favorite of the Pokemon movies.
Right.
Is that?
That's the one with Entei.
Oh, you mean the asshole? Okay.
Throwing fire here.
He's just trying to protect a little girl who's suffering from her own detachment issues.
Yeah, who's like creating a living schizophrenic nightmare for all the protagonists.
Which is just to try to cope with the fact that her parents have left her. I'm down with Entei. He's just trying to help.
He's not even Entei. He's like this weird.
He's just a personification. He's just not a personification. He's just a manifestation of her own insecurities.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's cool that it looks like Entei though.
Number 3, I just wrote down Haganai because I wanted to talk about it, though I wouldn't say it is my third favorite, mostly because of how it collapses in season 2.
I can guarantee one of the 2 shows that we're gonna watch on this podcast is gonna take that spot.
Nice. I can't wait for it. Because we were thinking about, is it cool if I...
Yeah.
We were thinking about, we're going to start with Fullmetal Alchemist, right?
Yes. And so at the end of the episode, we'll tell you exactly what we're gonna do with that. But
Nice. And then we're going to zipper it with another one.
Yep.
Where we start watching one that's maybe a little smaller.
it's larger.
Okay, what do we watch? What's the other one?
It's Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, okay. So I'll take... How many episodes of Hunter x Hunter are out right now?
120 somewhat.
How many episodes are in total of Fullmetal Alchemist?
It's like I think it's like 80, less than 80.
Okay. Wow, fun.
Yeah, we got some episodes. It'll be a long going podcast, and people can watch it with us, and we'll have a lot to say because it's a lot of content.
I also wanted to talk about how I remember Speed Racer used to come on Cartoon Network. They did like Boomerang before Boomerang, where they did a lot of old shows.
Speed
I used to
Racer-
watch Speed Racer.
Speed Racer, Astro Boy, those are like kind of the OGs.
Yeah, and recently my mom picked up a DVD set of Speed Racer and of Astro Boy, and I rewatched them. They are charming as hell.
They're fantastic.
They are there's a lot of
I don't
care.
remember a lot from Speed Racer, but I watched a lot of Astro Boy with my brother, so...
There's movies made out of both of them.
Talking about the recent movie.
Yeah.
There is they remade Astro Boy.
Yeah, there's an Astro Boy
Oh,
movie
yeah.
with Freddie Highmore
I've seen
and Nicolas Cage.
Is it bad?
It's not bad, but it's not great. It's
Okay,
sort
so
of
it's
sort of
like-
serviceable.
Speed Racer's great.
Yeah, Speed Racer movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
John Goodman is the dad.
Yeah, John Goodman's the dad. I love it. I
Uh,
love that movie so much. It is one of the most visually imaginative movies ever constructed. And the Wachowskis obviously have a lot to say about capitalism in that movie that I like.
Right.
I love how much they care.
Panders to our little Californian hearts.
Yeah. Kenneth, what's on your list?
No, I got like a big list here of like just so I just I have a
Shows
top
to
3.
reference.
I love it.
Yeah,
Kane
yeah.
said come in with your top 3. I came in with a nebulous nothing, and you came in with like 15.
He's like,
So
oh,
"We'll
yeah.
fill in some of those slots for
yeah,
you."
neither of us came in with the thing Kane told us to do.
Because like I don't know, for me, anime is one of those things where like somebody asks you like, oh, what series did you watch, and you're like, oh, I can only remember like these 4, but I sat and went through a list of top anime,
Dude,
and I was like,
it's
oh, I
a
watched
lot
that, oh, I
longer
watched
than
that,
I-
oh, I watched that,
Yeah.
I watched that, I watched that, I watched that. So my top 3 are pretty basic, but they can't really be argued with. I'm not sure about the order, but it's Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, and Death Note.
Fun.
Yes.
Oh, you know, I've read some of the manga for Death Note. I do really
Which
like it.
Death
I
Note's
haven't,
really good. Watch
I haven't
the
seen
first
the
season.
anime, but yeah.
Don't watch the second season.
Watch the first season
Second season.
if you got the time.
You
I
will,
do everything all the way.
That's
You will-
fine. Do
you
it all
will-
the way, but it's
you will get a pass for doing Death Note half-ass. You will get a huge pass for that.
yeah.
Because the second season is they try to recreate the first season
Yeah,
with
it's-
replacing
it's-
characters, and it's
It would
like.
be interesting to talk about that show too. Maybe we'll do that after we finish Fullmetal.
And Death Note is widely considered the best anime on a lot
yeah.
of lists.
Mhm.
So let's watch anime. The podcast that you're listening to right now. This is just our big opener, so that everybody can hear our voices and get to know us and kind of like where we're from and whatnot about our feelings about anime. The idea is so every 4 episodes we are going to watch a week of one of 2 shows, and we're going to zipper the 2 shows. So next week we're going to talk about the first 4 episodes of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and that
That's
gives
gonna
you
be
an
some
opportunity.
imagery.
Gives you guys an opportunity to watch it with us. We're going to talk about 4 episodes at a time every week. But every other week, we're going to zipper it with a different show. So we're also going to be watching Hunter x Hunter, because I've never seen Hunter x Hunter. And again, it's apparently one of the biggest anime, like shonen. It's like kind of the starter for a lot
Very
of like
influential.
tropes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it, and I'm excited to see it. It's a lot of my friends' like favorite anime. So we're gonna zipper them every other week. We're gonna start with Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and then we're gonna go into Hunter x Hunter, and then the next 4 episodes, and then the next 4 episodes, so on and so on. And obviously we're gonna keep zippering it. So when we finish one of the series, we'll move on to a different series. So that's the plan. You wanna keep talking about your picks then?
So yeah, Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, and Death Note. I think Death Note is like I said, widely considered the top 1. But
It's really good, and
I
it's
think-
relatively short.
I think people wouldn't even. I don't think anybody's list of like top 10 wouldn't include it. Kane has no taste.
Kane seems to be furiously dragging his hand across his neck as if
Oh,
to say
Kane-
no, he wouldn't include it in
Kane
his
isn't-
top
Oh, maybe not.
In case you didn't know, Kane doesn't like art. So
Yeah, I hate art actually.
Kane doesn't like good television.
It's true.
Well, I don't know what the anime is like. I've read some of the comic, but I haven't actually.
It's good.
read all that.
It's really good.
And it's actually very good. I mean, you maybe want to up the episodes for that, because it's the anime is all strategy and planning, and it's all a mental battle between 2 characters.
Mhm.
So there's
back and forth.
how many action scenes are in Death Note? Like
4.
5, like at the most.
Mhm.
A lot of things are. They made eating a chip suspenseful.
Cool.
Yeah, they made a whole big drama scene out of that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll talk about Tokyo Ghoul eating a hamburger, one of the most depressing things you've ever seen. And Tokyo Ghoul is just depressing in general, every episode. Nothing, like I say about that, nothing good ever happens in that show. But you got Naruto.
Okay.
I mean, Naruto is, people can say, oh, that's basic, but Naruto is...
Don't ever be ashamed of your opinions.
Naruto is that show, is that motherfucker.
It's that
It
show
is
for
that-
a reason. It's good. Like I was also in the camp. I didn't watch Naruto until like a couple of years ago, and I watched the whole thing because I was like, shit.
Now, I watched Naruto from when it came on Cartoon Network. So, basically from the jump of most people in America watching it is when I started watching it. So, but I lived through the fillers. where there was literally like a year without a new episode because
Dang.
it came out once a week, and there was a filler arc that was like 60 something episodes.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot of filler.
so there were episodes, but there was no new episode that.
continued the
Continued
story
the
of the manga.
So you just had a bunch of like 2-3 episode arcs.
Mhm.
So I just didn't watch any of
It
those.
was it was a rough time for the Naruto
It
community.
was a rough time
It
for
was-
the Naruto fan.
Yeah. But my favorite character in the show and in anime period is Shikamaru.
What's Shikamaru's deal?
Shikamaru is smart as shit and he is lazy as hell.
He's cool.
He would literally rather
He's the Mycroft Holmes.
Yeah, he'd literally rather sit home and do nothing than go train and stuff. And as the show goes on, he ends up becoming the person with the second most responsibilities in the show, behind Naruto becoming ninja president. He's ninja vice president. That's what Shikamaru is.
Please tell me that Ninja President is an actual title in the Naruto universe.
It's called the Hokage,
It's called the
and
Hokage.
Naruto wants to be it.
There's 5 presidents of the 5 nations, and they're all called some word that
Kage.
has to do with a prefix that has to do with the land.
The Raikage, Mitsukage.
Sushi Kage, Kaze Kage, and Hokage is Naruto's village, and Naruto becomes Hokage. And
Because his village is Ho? No, that wasn't a joke. That was honestly like that.
no, they're
It's air. Is there? No, they're
no,
leaf.
the land of fire. Is
Fire, you're right,
is
the
the
land of
entire
fire.
place. No, they're prefixes that have to do not with the village's name, but
Mhm.
like with. Because I think sushi has something to do with like lightning or whatever. No, I mean
That's the Raikage.
Raikage has to do
Yeah,
something
he
with
used to do
lightning.
with
Oh,
lightning.
okay.
And
But
everybody in the Raikage,
Yeah.
like in the
And
I don't know what it's
Ho
called.
is like, what do you like, fire? That
no, they
doesn't sound
all
right. That
live in
doesn't
the
sound
land
right.
of fire.
No,
Or is
because
that
the
just-
Mitsukage lives in the land of the. I don't know.
Oh, no, yeah,
You'd have to look at the map.
The land of fire is
Each land has its own hidden village, and the hidden village is separate from the element of the land. So, like, the Ho comes from the name of the town, which I can't remember off the top of my head.
Konoha.
Konoha.
Oh, okay.
And so it's the hidden leaf village. So he's the leader of the leaf, basically.
Got it.
Yeah.
I would assume. I don't quote me on that because I don't know Japanese.
Why couldn't I asked for a distinct etymological breakdown and you couldn't provide me?
Well, I did my best. I felt like I did a pretty decent job of summarizing that.
Yeah, but that's my favorite character in
He's pretty
anime.
good.
Period.
He's pretty cool.
Because I'm like, hey, I feel that, man.
Yeah.
I know that feel.
Yeah.
And then Hunter x Hunter, which is something I only watched earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
which got, like you said, recommendations from a lot of friends.
Mhm.
It starts off as like, hey, 11, 13-year-old kid, action adventure. He's going to look for his dad who disappears. And, of course, he's an 11-year-old that can fish for, like, fish that are, like, the size of whales.
Yeah.
And he can pull them out of the water. So they just let you know right off the bat that the kid's strong as shit. And
Mhm.
we're in that type of world.
And after like 60 episodes, it takes a left turn.
Yeah, so it starts off with Hunter x Hunter. Actually, a lot of that you'll probably learn when we watch like a lot of these shonen anime, which shonen would be like mainstream action anime
Yeah.
that don't have too many things that keep the age bracket wide for viewers, so that they can be basically the most profitable and most watched.
Yeah.
A lot of the tropes that they use, a lot of the story arcs that they use, were made in Hunter x Hunter, or
Okay.
at least perfected in Hunter x Hunter. Like in My Hero and Naruto, they have tests because they're in school.
Mm-hmm.
In Hunter x Hunter, they want to become bounty hunters, and they have the main thing is everybody takes a test to become a bounty hunter, and they kind of perfected that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it.
But after they finish the test and they become certified bounty hunters, then they go to this city, which is like kind of their version of like New York.
Yeah.
I think it even has kind of a punny name to it. But that leads into them meeting higher level hunters. And then when, like I said, the Chimera Ant,
Yeah.
when they turn into the Chimera Ant and you start seeing what Chimera Ants do, that's when that takes that left turn. That's when you have a Chimera Ant who is they eat people or animals.
And they turn them into a fucking chimera.
And the other thing is when they eat people, they eat a person, and that chimera ant is born.
Yeah.
The chimera ant has slight memories of when they were a person,
Oh Jesus! That's
which
fucked.
really fucks up their head.
Spooky.
no.
All right. I like that.
one main ant that you meet that kind of like you can tell that they tell a side story along next to it.
Yeah.
And it's something they do in anime a lot, where they tell like this innocent side story, and then you have this other character, and then you realize that character is the character from the innocent side story, and his life has just become fucking awful.
Fun.
Jesus.
And that happens a lot in anime. There's
Cool.
the innocent side, and they don't tell you anything. They just show these flashbacks, and you're like, why are they doing this? And all of a sudden it comes together. Oh, the kid is that guy, and now his life is fucking awful.
Damn.
But one of the biggest left turns, like when they had the chimera ant, they were like edging, banking to the left a little bit. When they just flipped the wheel, is when a centaur chimera ant came out with a guy that he had captured on a leash. Walking naked, walking on his elbows and knees, acting
Fun.
like a dog.
You could completely be making all this up, and I would have no clue
No,
right
that
now.
will happen in the show. and then when the dude cries out to the protagonist to beg for his life, the centaur just smashes his head with his foot.
Okay, so my favorite anime, my first favorite anime of all time is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and that's the reason why we're watching it first, because I'm selfish and I want to rewatch it, and you have to watch it, Jacob, because I'm making you.
I watched the first 4 episodes of both Full Metal Alchemist series.
Yeah.
I have several opinions. They will all be explored in the next episode.
Okay, cool.
haven't
We will
seen
be
the-
specifically watching Brotherhood, and there's a reason for that.
I haven't seen the
Um,
original in a long time.
It's way better exposition, but you don't really need that for where the story goes.
In the original?
Yes. But we'll talk about that next time. If you feel like watching both series, do it, Kenneth. Like, yeah, we'll talk it. Get a little bit of a fresh mind.
No, I
gotta
watch Gundam Wing again.
But for the show, we're going to be watching specifically Brotherhood. So keep up with us for Brotherhood going on. And the reason is,
Don't read ahead, dummies.
with Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and the reason you'll probably like the series, Jacob, is it's a complete story. From start to finish, it capped on an ending. It has an ending. It tells a complete story. There's different arcs, there's different characters, but it ultimately is one protagonist going through...
Don't they start an adventure at the end of the series?
I guess. Not really.
Yeah, they went.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I mean, there is an end. There's just another beginning.
But as a story, it ends. It is a complete
Yeah.
story, and its characters are impactful. I think the message it's sending is impactful about the government and how it's not only it's a governmental like spy story. It's about there's a war going on. There's refugees. There's these kids who are going through this other thing that has like their own problems with this like mystical element of alchemy that is.
I'm sure you can
know.
guess what color the refugees are.
And it's just I think it sends a powerful message on humanity. I think the characters are every single character is well thought out and is third dimensional. Even the characters that are only in for
3-dimensional.
yeah 3-dimensional. Even the characters that are only in episodes for 1 or 2 episodes at a time. Some come back later, some come back, some don't show up and they're only there for that one episode and they've served their purpose. But every character has a purpose. Every character is explored for the most part, and it just the protagonists are clear, the story is clear, the show and the story progresses at a pace that is interesting, and it always keeps you wondering what's going to happen next. You don't know.
I think most characters you have an opinion on. Like you either like or dislike them.
Yeah,
There's not
it's
too-
because they're 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
You can relate or disrelate, I guess. I don't know, or
Whatever the opposite of
And
relate.
or
not that they're
oppose
bland.
the ideas of the
They're
character.
bland, like one way or the other. Like I like them because they're like this. They are still complicated, but most of them you like or dislike them.
And more importantly, you dislike them because of what they did, not
Yeah.
because they're boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So every character serves a purpose. Every character's great. Every character's thought out. There's a nice mystical element where you get the cool anime. Oh, we're battling with superpowers, but it's
Yeah.
not overdone. The whole show isn't just these fights happening. The whole show is about this big story, and the story is amazing. And I can't praise this show enough because it is my favorite anime. My second favorite anime is called Space Dandy.
Oh, and that's what your jacket is from.
Yes. I have Dandy's jacket because I love Space Dandy. It's a great show. It's by the artist and producer who did Cowboy Bebop. This is like I think his 4th show that he's done. He
What
did
are his other 2?
Samurai Champloo, and then he did this other show that was kind of like based in a high school. I think that's kind of like more somber. It's kind of sad.
What was it
I
called? Do
can't
you remember?
off the top of my head. I never watched it. I do have to get on top. I do have to watch it eventually. But Space Dandy was his 4th series. All of his series are about 2 seasons long, like Cowboy Bebop is. And Space Dandy has about exactly the same amount of episodes. So what Cowboy Bebop is like serious about bounty hunters, and it's more of a on the serious spectrum of anime.
Yeah.
Space Dandy is just complete comedy, and it's fucking hilarious. I love that show, and I can't. It's not humor that's funny to everybody, but it's funny to me. But more importantly, it's less about the humor and more about the art style and the music of the show that I love so much. The music of Space Dandy, I mean, the music of Cowboy Bebop is, renowned. The soundtrack for that, but I love the soundtrack. It's like this weird funk disco-y, like new age, like and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's fun, and it's very beautiful to watch. I think it's one of artistically it's my favorite visual style anime that I've seen. I want more anime in that art style, animated by this art director, because I absolutely adore it. My 3rd favorite anime is new. It didn't used to be my 3rd favorite, but it is now. It's My Hero Academia, which I watched 2 seasons.
Stop crying,
of it.
Izuku. Fuck, bro.
Before you go on,
Yeah,
was his other anime Kids on the Slope?
I think so. Yeah.
Because either that or maybe Terror in Resonance. Of the
Yeah, he
things
had a
he's produced.
5th one, but one came after Space Dandy, I think.
After Space Dandy, Terror in Resonance, and Carol and Tuesday.
Yeah. I haven't watched any of those.
Yeah. Aw, Carol and Tuesday looks cute.
It's probably really sweet. It's probably really well done in terms of like art direction. Anyway,
The main picture is 2 girls, one's on a keyboard, one's on a guitar. I kind of want to watch this, and I don't know what it's
I kind of want
about.
to watch that too.
I know nothing about it, but I was like, they're playing music.
I'll definitely
Could be a
get
left
around
turn,
to
though.
that. Could be a few left turns.
Any anime you see could be a left turn.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
But you were saying, what's your 3rd
My
favorite
Hero
anime?
Academia. It's really fucking good, guys. Go watch it
Todoroki.
right now. We've got 3. It's the newest shonen. That's like
Why are we
taken
recording
off.
a podcast? We could be watching My Hero Academia.
Exactly.
There's 63 episodes?
Yeah. It's relatively new, but it just finished its 3rd season. It's gonna start its 4th season, and the 4th season is gonna be by far the best season. Because I liked this show so much, watching just 2 seasons, that I read the entirety of the manga in 2 days.
Is the manga already finished?
No, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
They're catching up. They're like 2 or 3 arcs ahead of where we've left off in the anime. But the anime is fantastic. It takes what this manga does great in storytelling, and then does it amazingly in a visual representation of these fights that these superheroes have. That just, if you don't know, it's about a kid who goes to superhero school to become a superhero, the number 1 superhero, the best superhero, the Superman, who is a character that's basically Superman, but he's so much better as a character. His name is All Might, and he's the fucking best. And he has his own arc. So you have the little kid who has no superpowers, who gains superpowers, and has to learn how to use them, even though he's like emotionally fragile and sad.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then you have All Might, who's this famous celebrity superhero, Superman basically, who now has to transition into becoming a teacher and teaching this kid how to become essentially the better version of him. And it's an amazing storyline. But he doesn't just teach the main character. There's a whole class of characters that he has to teach, because it's not just about the main kid's story. Although it is his story, it's not just about him. It's about the world they live in. It's about there's a bigger picture in terms of the villains and what their agenda is. And just all of the superpowers are so creative, and it's so amazing. Especially the Invisible Girl.
I'm sick of her.
Very nice.
Also, a really well done visual style. Like watching the anime, it looks nice to watch, and I think for me that's where a lot of like my preference comes from. Like,
And then they
if the actual visual presentation of the art is pleasing to me, that's where like my preference comes from, which is obviously subjective for everybody. Everybody has a different art style they like, but for me, that's really what makes these three stand out for me.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to get around to a lot of these.
Yeah, we will, guys. We will.
We
Let's
will.
watch some anime.
Let's watch some anime. Next week, we're going to be doing the first 4 episodes of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, or if you're me, the first 4 episodes of both Fullmetal Alchemists.
Yeah,
But that's only if you're me. Don't feel like you have to.
absolutely.
If you want to cry, watch Tokyo Ghoul. Or if you just want to be depressed, I should
If
say.
you want to have a
Cry.
great time and like to trip out, I don't condone drug use, but weed definitely expands your mind when you watch Space Dandy.
All right, but for right now, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. We'll see you after episode 4 next time.
Yeah. Love you guys.
I'm iffy on y'all, so. Sure. We'll see.
All right.